Hello everybody, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening depending on where you are in this amazing world. My name is Donovan Jolly and welcome everybody once again for another amazing video of DIY investing. I've got some really awesome things that I wanted to share with you guys today. I've been saving a lot of my analysis from last week and I've been just kind of transitioning it to this one because there's a lot of really important things that I want to talk about today. There's a number of different market cycles that are showing exact correlations to the altcoin total market cap as well as Bitcoin versus the dollar. All of these charts are highly correlated, and that's the exact reason why I personally trade market cycles. Market cycles are based off of human psychology and the emotional psychology of human beings. Human beings are investing in these markets, and therefore human beings being emotional creatures are going to actually be translated inside of the charts as well. You can literally pinpoint human emotion through the emotional psychology of a market cycle, and you can use this to profit. Through this very formula, I've made most of my money, and I've made immense profits by just following some basic rules and analogies. I am confident that by the end of this video, you guys are going to perfectly understand all of my strategies, and you're going to be able to start implementing them to further market cycles, and you're also going to be able to see exactly how these are correlated to the current market cycles that we're seeing today. So make sure you guys stay all the way to the end of this video because we're going to be going over the total altcoin market cap, and we're going to be showing you guys exactly why I think that the bottom is in, where I think that we're headed in the future, and then I'm going to be giving you guys my long-term targets as well. We're also going to be going over one of the older market cycles of the commodity market and then comparing it to how exact this market cycle is to the total altcoin market cap today. Make sure you guys always remember to do myself a favor by leaving a like, comment, and subscribing to this channel for more updates. Make sure you guys click that notification bell so you don't miss out on any new videos like the one provided for you here. Remember guys, I also have an amazing Discord community that I would love to have you guys join. It's totally free for anybody to join. On the Discord server, I also offer some of my more exclusive content like the video course and signals. The video course is 20 educational videos that teach you guys all of the strategies that I use to profit inside of crypto. So if you're somebody that wants to start learning how to day trade these markets, you want to start learning all of the technical skills required to be an investor, I highly recommend that you guys check out the video course. It's 20 educational videos that are going to teach you guys all of my specific strategies. Now the signals are actually an excellent way for you guys to copy all of my long-term portfolio as well as any short-term trades that I take over the course of this next cycle. So if you guys would rather just copy all of my personal trades and copy along with all of my investments that I'm taking, I highly recommend that you guys check out this server and join by clicking in the description of this video, and there you're going to find the invitation link. Once you guys have access, shoot me a message and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. But with all that being said, guys, we've got a number of amazing things to cover today, and I know that you guys are going to be so excited after this video. So without further ado, let's jump right into it today. Alrighty guys, so here we are taking a look at the altcoin market cap. I wanted to talk about this chart today because I think that this is the most important one if you're really an altcoin holder. There's a couple different charts, the altcoin total market cap, the Bitcoin dominance, altcoin dominance. These are all really good formulas to use and really just base your analysis from. Now obviously this is a chart that shows all of the average data that we have as far as the total market cap of the altcoins. Now what I want to talk about today here was I wanted to go over some things between this cycle and then the last one that we had because I've actually noticed just how identical these two cycles are. Obviously, there's going to be some differences because human emotion governs all market cycles, and the human emotion is never going to be 100% exact, but it is always so similar, and it oftentimes rhymes, and it would really surprise you guys. Just by analyzing previous market cycles throughout all of the different markets that we have, I've been able to find a lot of different correlations between the cryptocurrency markets, and the correlations are actually very positive. I've yet to find any negative correlations. I mean, obviously, I think if there was some really negative correlations between crypto that maybe other people weren't aware about, you would think that they would be shared upon, and other people that were more bearish would actually share their perspectives. But honestly, guys, I've yet to really experience somebody with a sound perspective on why they're bearish. It's always just kind of a belief. And of course, that's why we're all here is just speculation. But 100%, guys, I can tell you without a doubt in my mind that what we're seeing in the cryptocurrency markets is much more bullish than anything else that's pointing to there being a bearish perspective. Now, what I wanted to go through here is just comparing these two cycles. Now, this was the first little impulse that we had. Obviously, Bitcoin goes way further back, but this was the first chart of the altcoins that we had. This is just the average of all of the alts. Now, we topped out in the cycle around November December area in 2013, and then we had this 2-year bear market, right? Now, what I want to talk about here was how long that we accumulated sideways before we actually got that breakout. So it was about 777 days before we got that first impulse, and then it was really where Ethereum started leading that market. And so this was about 800 days worth of consolidation, and we got a very, very big move on the way up. Almost 100x move from the bottom of this point right before we broke out. Now what's interesting to me is how much longer this cycle is actually accumulated compared to the old one. So we're currently sitting at about 841 days. So this cycle has been longer in duration, which is a very positive sign. Now overall, we always have been watching for the potential of an elongated cycle where it actually surpasses my targets, but I told you guys that I thought it was less likely. Now, give or take a few hundred days, give or take about 100 days, I think that these two cycles are going to be pretty close. But with us being already a longer sideways accumulation from the high to where we're at today, that is going to create a bigger expansion. Now, a little rule I want to teach you guys today: the longer the accumulation, the bigger the expansion. So the longer that we're accumulating inside of these cycle lows, the longer that we're below this all-time high mark, the bigger that the bull run is going to be on the way up. And I honestly think that with all of this money printing that we're seeing right now, it's only going to balloon the prices and the perceived value of these even higher. So we might see an even bigger bull run, guys, and that would just be insane, because I know a lot of people aren't expecting it because the cycles have been getting less parabolic, but with these altcoins, they're still really underdeveloped. Now, let's go through here, because this cycle looks exactly the same as this, and I want to show you guys how correlated these are. So let's go through and actually analyze them, and then we'll actually take a look on Photoshop and see, you know, if I layer them over each other, how identical do they look. Now, we get the cycle high here, and it's the same as what we saw here, and then we kind of go through this accumulation phase. Now, this is kind of like where we're first making our sell-offs, and then we're getting rejected, we're failing to break higher, and I've noticed that we've created roughly the same sort of pattern. Now, we get this W formation, and then this is what takes us to the next sell-off and that first lower low in that trend, and this is roughly the same thing that we've seen in Bitcoin recently. We get the same W formation, and then we actually sell off. And this takes us to our second lower high, which would be about right here. And we can see that we get the exact same correlations here inside of the current market structure. After the W, we sell off, we make our first lower low. This takes us to right here. And this is what actually takes us to our eventual capitulation. This is our final sell-off of that bearish trend. And that happened right here. Now, what I thought was really interesting was how at the bottom of this capitulation in the last cycle, we get this big ABC correction. And this ABC correction takes us pretty close to the primary highs of where we started initially correcting from. And this is very, very similar to what we saw here in the current market structure. We just didn't go as high. This one impulsed all the way up to here. This one stayed below the primary resistance. If this one would have been more parabolic, it would have wound up back up at this resistance. But nonetheless, it still followed. We end up selling off, and we come back down to retest these primary lows right here. And what do you know? This cycle did the exact same thing. And then from there, we impulse, we get rejected again, and then we fall to our last low. And this is the exact same thing that we're seeing today. And so based off of the two cycles, these are very, very correlated. Obviously, you guys know that they look a little bit different. There are some similarities, there are some differences, but nonetheless, we're seeing roughly the same sort of psychology of the market cycle. The market cycle creates roughly these same sort of market cycles, and they vary in symmetry, but oftentimes they rhyme. And we can see without a doubt that these two cycles are rhyming. Even though there is some differences, these two cycles are rhyming, and they're following based off of roughly the same sort of time frames. So now this actually is what takes me to the next part. Let's go take a look at Photoshop and see some things here. Now with Photoshop, I wanted to layer over the altcoin cycle over the current one today to even show you how much deeper this comparison goes. Now let's go through here and analyze some things. I actually deleted the bull run because this cycle in the most recent one was actually way more parabolic, so it was harder to compare. So I just took the sell-off to the point in which the fractal starts to follow. And this is where it starts to show, guys. Basically, just like the silver comparison, just like the gold comparison, all of these, after the sell-off, we start this W formation. We get the lows. Let's actually change the color here. So we get the lows here. We bounce and get rejected. We fall back down, make another low. bounce, get rejected again, and then we fall to this point right here. This is kind of where the market sells off, starts to round out right at the support of these previous lead up or the build up phase. And then we sell off for one more low, and that low takes us to right here. And then this is actually where we get that A, B, C correction back up. And it's the exact same thing that happened here inside of the altcoin market cap today, but the only difference was it wasn't quite as parabolic. But we get the same A, B, C correction back up. We sell back down. We come back down to retest the primary lows of capitulation. And then we bounce again, get rejected one more time, and then sell off for that one final low. And this is very, very correlated between the two. Even though there's going to be some differences, this peak shot up really high. It was more volatile. Got to understand that that was also coming at a point where there was probably 10 to $20 billion total in market cap. So there is going to be more volatility. This was also just the first impulse, and so it wasn't as big as this one that we saw here. So you're not going to be able to perfectly show the identical correlation, but the fact is, guys, this is correlated enough for me to fully understand what's taking place. I mean, you can't 100% expect it always to be exact. That's why we look at prior cycles and we see how they're correlated to show where maybe the cycle today could end up. And because we're seeing such correlations here, you know, this is a no-brainer for me. And I say that often, but for me, I've been here through these cycles. I've seen the way that cycles accumulate. And what we're seeing today is really no different than any prior cycles in times past, which is actually what takes me to the next chart. So this one, guys, is the obvious one of the day. This is the silver comparison. Before we wrap up the video today, I just wanted to quickly talk about this because this is actually even more correlated than the last cycle is. But the thing is, guys, we're seeing the last cycle of the altcoin total market cap from 2014 to 2016 lining up very, very correlated to the current one today. And then today, we're also seeing the correlations between silver and the market cap that we're seeing and the altcoins. Now, this is so insane to me because obviously, silver's been one of the best performing investments of all time. Someone made a very, very parabolic run. And even though these are very long cycles, they're correlated to cryptos because both are commodities. Not only are cryptos commodities, but gold and silver are commodities as well. And so it makes sense that they follow the same sort of structure. Now, something to note inside of commodities is commodities get really extended in their 5 waves. Now, for you guys that don't know Elliott wave theory, basically this is a 1, this is a 3, and then this is a 5. So the 5 waves get very parabolic because there's a lot of money really flooding into these markets. Now, if we look here, guys, we can see that silver went through a very same accumulation. We had this big parabolic run, the bubble pops, we sharply decline back down, and then we just kind of round out and chop back and forth before finally, you know, we kind of come down to these primary lows here, and then we were unable to break lower. So we hit these lows of capitulation, we bounced, got rejected, we came back down to retest these, and then we completed a double bottom reversal where we ended up breaking out and going into new all-time highs. And this is very, very similar to what we're seeing now in the total altcoin market cap today. There's hardly any difference realistically to me. We see the same build-up phase, we see the same parabolic run, we see the same sharp decline, and even all of the places in which the market starts to decline and bounce are the same. We get the first one here, decline, first one here, bounce, you're rejected, fall again, this one here, then we go to capitulation, right? And this is what we're kind of just seeing today. Roughly the same sort of structure. We hit the primary lows down here, capitulation, we bounce, we get rejected, we fall back down to those primary lows again, and then theoretically, if the pattern continues, we are going to see a breakout very soon. And so with all of that being said, guys, I think that this is a time to be buying crypto. The halving is just so close. We're very, very close away from that. You know, I think we got about 15 days left. So we have a catalyst that has proven in times past to be a major driver of value in the crypto space. We're seeing this just about to play out for the 3rd time. Both previous 2 times it's happened, it's made a major move in the parabolic run for the crypto markets. And we're so close to seeing the next one. And with us being so close to seeing this next one, there's also a major correlation between the last cycle and the one that we're currently seeing today. On top of that, we're also seeing major correlations between the silver market cycle and the altcoin total market cap. You know, guys, there's way more reasons to be bullish, and I'm trying to show you guys and spread the awareness of these big picture cycles so that we can all profit together, because that's the most important thing here. I know a lot of people that follow me share my videos to their friends, their family, And this is really important that we talk about the long-term perspective, because this is going to be the thing that makes the most people money with the least amount of risk. It's so much easier to just buy when everything's relatively cheap and then hold the length of the trend. Obviously, nobody knows when the exact bottom is. Nobody knows when the exact top is, which is why we just do our part in accumulating while the market's cheap. Guys, realistically, to me, we've just been consolidating within this range. And that has been the range for a significant portion of time now. And you guys got to remember that if this initial sell-off with all of this pandemic stuff going on, if this was the sell-off that didn't break support, I don't think that there is going to be one. And, you know, the economies are starting to open up again. We're seeing this across the world. Daily cases are starting to decline. They are going to release everything, and everything's going to go back to normal. And when that happens, we're going to see a big parabolic run from crypto. And this is going to be proven to be one of the biggest shakeouts of all time, specifically with cryptocurrencies. I got a great discount and was able to actually buy a lot of cheap crypto throughout this time, even though I didn't have a big amount of cash to deploy. You know, when markets are that cheap, it doesn't take a lot of cash to buy a lot of crypto. And if you're somebody that's been averaging in this entire dip, some of you guys will be able to attest to this, that maybe you bought up here, or maybe you bought up here. And if you would have just bought, you know, $500 worth of that same investment right here, you would have had twice as much as what the amount that you got when you paid for it up here. So that's the interesting thing about the emotional psychology of the market. Because we're seeing such correlations, it makes me very confident that what we're going to see is a massive bull run. I have never been more confident in me saying that. That's why I make these videos. I put myself out there on a platform for criticization, for everybody to just kind of talk and give their own perspective on what they think is right, what they think is wrong. At the end of the day, this is not investment advice. This is just my own personal portfolio. This is what I personally do with my money. This is my analysis that I use to dictate my own personal trades. And I see way more reason to be bullish now. I don't see the reason to be bearish. I think the reason why people are bearish is because they're retail investors and don't understand how market cycles behave. But you know, guys, what's coming is literally going to change each and every one of our lives that are invested into this. And, you know, quickly before we finish today's video, let's talk about some things real quick. Let's talk about some expectations for the future here. Because in my opinion, guys, we're going to see something pretty similar to the last bull run. And I think that we have a good opportunity of getting very parabolic in this cycle because of the simple fact we now have so much more institutional involvement inside of this space. Institutions have been buying this entire dip. They're going to start letting all of their retail investors know. They're going to start pumping the prices. News outlets are going to start covering this. And then we'll see another big parabolic run. But in my opinion, we'll see something similar to the last cycle. We'll see a breakout of this short-term this channel that we've built here at this bottom. We'll break out of that. We'll kind of accumulate here on this sideways trend, and then things will really start to go parabolic. And I think that it'll behave pretty similarly to kind of what I have drawn here. Realistically, once we break out of the cycle high here, this resistance, that's going to be a complete trend reversal of this, and we're going to see a big parabolic run shortly. You know, guys, I don't know how many dollars a market cap is going to get up there, because the problem with valuing things in dollars anymore is the fact that we now have QE infinity printing from the Federal Reserve, which is just going to balloon the value of these into, you know, whether it's actually real value or whether it's just inflation. That's the things that we're going to have to pay attention for. And so even with the dollar values, you know, depending on how bad hyperinflation gets, we could see these Bitcoin prices and crypto prices, you know, really, really high. But that high doesn't necessarily translate to real value. It just means that the dollar is more worthless than before. And so we need to calculate all of these things. That's why for me personally, I'm looking to just accumulate more crypto. I'm trading Bitcoin pairs, I'm trading Ethereum pairs, I'm trading XRP pairs if I can find good ones. Because to me, personally, the cryptos are going to be the ones that survive. It's not the dollar that's going to survive. The dollar is just the short-term thing that we use. When it crashes, all of this is going to burn up, and it's important that you have smart, sound money to invest in, whether that's gold, silver, whether that's other stocks, whether that's cryptos. You know, everybody's going to have their own investment trading plan. The best thing to do is just make sure that you're diversified and not holding too much cash. But anyways, guys, this is the video I had for you. Always remember to join the Discord by clicking in the description of this video. There you're going to find the invitation link. Once you guys have access, shoot me a message and I can get back to you as soon as possible. But with all that being said, guys, thank you so much for the support. I'll catch you guys in the next video. As always, peace out.